Welcome back to part 2 of Special Redbacks TV this week. Special guests Warren Harvey and Matt Mangan.
It's Warren Ward, but that's okay.
So Warren Ward, you're beauty! Warren Ward.
Matthew.
And Matt Michael's over there. Basically just have a bit of a quick chat about you guys and who you are in general. A bit of an insight as to you've been around the club for a bit. Some ideas on cricket and shoot the breeze for 15 or 20 minutes, and if anyone's interested they can stick around and watch it, and hopefully hopefully
come back.
Hopefully have a bit of insight. We'll try and do this a bit more where I'll get around and do the same and catch up on some long-term cricketers and some first graders. We might even put Gavin in charge of one of these, which could be interesting.
Okay.
We might not, I don't know, it's going to fly there, but I'll get the questions that have been sent in out of the way first. And Mick Carthy's written in, thank you Mick, who will do the same for Mick because he's a life member and been around for a while, so that'll be a good chat as well. For Maddie, which I can direct to both of you, what drew yourself to the Redbacks in the first place, Maddie?
Well, there's a couple of things. I was a Penrith RSL boy actually originally as a junior, so don't hold that against me. But to be honest, I took a couple of years off cricket. I was pretty over it, to be honest. I'd played since I was a kid and hadn't really had a break from it. And some of the boys, mainly the Belottis, were sort of asking me to play, and I sort of dipped my toe in the water last year before dislocating my knee in the 9th over the first game, which was beautiful. Once I knew sort of who was in the team, I'd gone to school with a few of them, and I sort of knew most of the boys from around the area anyway. So it was a pretty easy decision in the end, and the few games I played last year certainly made this year's decision a lot easier. It was more the boys, yeah.
I might hold that question because we've got a bit long. It's a longer tail for you, so I might hold that one.
You're right.
The bottle brushes.
Now you're here. If there's one thing you could change for the club, what would it be?
Oh wow!
Senior secretary.
Oh no,
but everyone says that.
Get a job next year.
To be honest, there's probably one thing that I think has actually started to change that I noticed sort of the end of last year especially was felt like, especially at the Pio and stuff, it was quite cliquey between certain teams, and 1s, 2s, 4s, 5s, and everyone sort of had their own crews, and I think pre-season helped that a lot by having quite a few of the guys down just to have a net and have a chat and a couple of beers and whatnot. So would just be to sort of integrate the teams a little bit more, and I think, like I said, those things like pre-season and back to the pie and stuff obviously is a huge thing. The socialising and the events, and hopefully that sort of, even with the cricket, makes it a lot easier. Calling guys up in between teams, everyone's sort of happy to play with whoever and whatever. That'd be the sort of one thing for me.
Good answer. But it was probably our best pre-season for a long time. I think the pre-season's pretty good, and it's been a long time since generally the whole first grade team's been part of it, and it's been great to see. So
yeah,
kudos to you for driving that, and that's been good. But I agree, good answer. I would love to know if there's a way to wave a wand and make that happen.
Yeah.
Grant and I are working on a few things and maybe potentially another venue down the road, but it's all hush hush at the moment. Shouldn't have said that. Was I?
But no, that is an important thing, that if you do see people up the Pio when there's
come and say hello.
Teams, come and say hello.
No, it's by me.
Fill in for teams. You've never bought a beer in your life. But yeah, I think that's a good point and an important point, that we make sure that everyone gets involved and gets to know everyone around the club, because there is new players coming in all the time. So.
Yeah, but I'm probably the one guy that knows 90% of everyone, and there's not too many jerks around. Most of them are related to me, so
that's it.
Or friends with me, so or in my team.
So steer clear of your
just
table.
Just don't come near me. But yeah, good point. Was it? Do you have something?
One thing I like is the fact that a few years ago I filled in for 4th grade from 9th grade, and all I did was field. I didn't get a bat, didn't get a bowl. So next time I was asked, forget it. And now I've noticed that the guys who asked to come up and get a bowl, get a bat, and I think that's really important. And so that's one really good thing.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that both myself and Adrian have discussed heavily at captains and coaches and managers and meetings, particularly with juniors as well, which was something that I felt very strongly about over the previous years, is that calling up juniors in particular. If you call them up and bat them at 11, it's not going to happen for you.
I actually remember one of the first games of seniors I played when I was 15 was for Wazza, and he took the time to say, come for a walk, and we put out the cones together, and he asked what I did, and he gave me a bat and a ball on that day, and now look what's happened. So it's your fault.
You're a superstar.
But it is important that
Still doing the
that we
cones.
do that, and it seems to be working. So
Yeah.
it's always hard to fit everyone into that, but
Definitely.
I know we've used a lot of young kids this year, and we put them up the top of the order.
But it's not always perfect either. It's not like I bat 3, I'm going to bat 3. It might be batting 6 or 7. Like that's still, to me, it's still getting a bat. It's just
But giving some opportunity.
you don't just say fine leg to fine leg, and that sort of thing isn't on anymore. So
Perfect.
anything else to add?
No, that's
Beautiful. Grant, anything you want to change?
No, just probably my only question to Matty would be first grade captain this year. How are you finding that?
Oh, just to cut in, that was Mick's next question as well.
Well, that's my question.
Well, I'm
You
going
stole
to
it.
We can't ask that question.
made it nice and long.
Oh, okay.
So, as he's been charged with leading the chase of after one of the final elusive boxes the club has yet to tick, a first grade premiership, what is the biggest challenge to overcome in order to achieve that goal? And whatever he said.
Yeah, right, okay.
No pressure.
No. I think there's something that's always been spoken about since I've been here, is the elusive first grade premiership. And so, I mean, that's obviously something I haven't experienced over the time I've been here. I've only been here a couple of years, but, I sense that's obviously a big feather in the cap for the club, and, one of the sort of biggest goals we have. And yeah, so far, it's been great. It's just sort of trying to find the right mix of boys and, trying to develop the guys we've got as well. And I think we've sort of got the perfect mix with, your senior players like Kim and Chris and even Gavo to a certain extent, mature Gavo. And, you've got the younger boys, but they're certainly not, they're holding their own. And this year especially, I think everyone's sort of been doing their own bit. There hasn't been one person who's sort of done everything every week, which has been great. And I think our biggest challenge probably is, and if you probably ask other sides, it would be our batting. From what I've seen in the comp, is we're probably the most attacking side, and we, if everything goes to plan, we'll win the game. There's no doubt about that. But it's just sort of those moments where you lose a few wickets and push come to shove. Semi-final and finals knockout, so it's just sort of getting up for that big game, and I'm sure we can do that this year.
To me, that's the thing. From an outside looking in, is you obviously have a good team. You're putting forms on the board now, but it's those 2 games that you have to turn up, and there's no second chances now. There's no 80 overs. There's no getting out of trouble.
Yeah,
you're in or you're out, and that's it. So that to me, that's the only nervous part down the road. But
it's a bit of complacency and a bit of probably respecting your wickets. Is probably a bit key.
Yeah. That's going to be obviously, you can't answer that now anyway. I mean, once the semi and the final comes, hopefully we can sit back and look back on this and say job well done. But certainly getting into that winning habit, and that's what got us to the final last year. Our goal is to go undefeated this year and storm into the finals and take it out. So we've certainly got the guys to do it. We just got to get it done on the day.
Yeah, so far so good for that.
Yeah, ticking the boxes so far.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else, Grant, you got for Maddie?
No, that was my only question.
Just a quick one about yourself. You played first grade for Blacktown Hawkesbury? Or?
Just the Hawks.
Just
I want a line.
Yeah, the swing and sway. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that? How was the experience there? And
yeah, I mean it was awesome.
Part of growing up and part of your cricket.
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, and that was obviously the peak of my career. And I'm sure some of the boys will probably laugh at this. And I certainly wasn't batting 3 and scoring hundreds and taking a lot of wickets, but I've always prided myself on being a guy that can change a game and win a game. And if I did that 3 or 4 times a year, I was pretty content with that. And so the highlights reel in my head anyway looks pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a totally different type of cricket. But now I sort of look at myself as a dual international with first grade experience in the park, comp and grade. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of,
It's lucky we don't train indoors because we get half your team through the door to get that experience.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we get brought back to earth as well. I mean, at the end of the day, cricket's cricket. Doesn't matter where you're playing and what level or whatever's happening. Whoever wins gets the chockies, and whoever loses, it doesn't matter what grade or what you've done previously. So,
as a player, like you said, who's that sort of trying to win you have those big games and just winning the game yourself those couple of times. Does that affect? Did you being captain change that, or do you just play your own game and figure you've got team around you that?
Yes and no. It helps that you bowl and bat, so you get a sort of double crack at the cherry. I mean, if you open in the stick and snick one off early, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I think the experience that you had obviously helps when whatever is happening in the game. If you're 5 for 10 or you're 0 for 200, it's a different game. But yeah, you just got to back yourself in any situation, whatever you're doing. I mean, that's something that gets ingrained in you early. Like if you back yourself and play your own game, it doesn't really matter who you're playing against or what the situation is. But yeah, there's a level of risk though if you're an attacking player and you're 5 for 10, you try and take the bowler on and hit one to mid off, which I've done consistently over the last 10 years. So yeah, I mean that's the risk you take, I guess.
Yeah.
So Matty, you're a leg spinner now. When did you start bowling leg spin?
Yeah, good question. I just started bowling leg spin. It was juniors, so I'd always bowled leg spin since I was probably 13, 14. It was my only sort of backdoor entry to get a bowl, to be honest.
Right.
I was always an opening bat growing up, and leg spin, I just looked at the team and thought, well, I'm not getting behind the 8 medium paces that are there.
Yeah.
And, we've got an offie, so I may as well learn leg spin. And, yeah, I sort of didn't get rewarded for that until I started playing grade. And
so did you make grade as a leg spinner or as a
no, it was a batsman, but training two times a week for 3-4 hours, being a young fella, being really keen. I was bowling 50 overs in the nets anyway.
Yeah.
And so yeah, learnt my craft at Joe Mack nets, and I think I still took 1,000 wickets in those nets. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. You only need to take a couple of chances, and I ended up sort of being a leg spinner that could bat a bit. In fairness,
no, it's a good question, and I think it's a good question for young kids, because you do see kids at young ages, and everyone's bowling exactly the same medium pace. So to be a little bit different, and you see it if they want to make representative teams and things like that. At 10s or 11s or 12s, there's 30 kids that turn up and bowl. That's predominantly the same. So if you can learn to bowl something a little bit different, then it gives you a little bit of an edge.
If you're turning up to rep trials and you think, as a medium pacer, and there's 3 nets of medium pacers, and there's 2 leggies in the net, and one is not getting picked, then it's a 50-50. So that was my decision. I just was tactical early.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
So for our little leg spinner sound grab, so your advice would be go down and just bowl. Get those 50 overs in every week as a leggy. Is there any?
Yeah, I mean that's
about
all,
control about your stock ball.
That's all it was. Sure, there's plenty of your mates out there, and plenty of blokes I've played against who have a laugh about facing me, and they think they would, but I'd get you out for sure. It's just trying different things. Like obviously, sort of famous for the wrong'un. That is the easiest picked wrong'un in the comp, but no one watches the hand, so that's good. But yeah, just being able.
And you're the bloke I played with because you turn wrong as well, so.
Well, my leggy doesn't turn, so.
Mate, you never gave me a bowl. I've told you.
Have you given yourself a bowl yet?
I'm waiting to the opportunity. We haven't got enough runs on the board yet for me to come on, but I can guarantee you, I'm going to start taking some wickets this year, because when we get the other team 8 down, I will be straight on.
That's good captaincy.
That's it.
That's how we all work, isn't it?
That's it. So I'm going to pick up some wickets this year. I've already warned the boys.
I've just noticed.
I'm just concerned that they're all going to sit down on the ground and it's going to be relying on me trying to hit the stuff. And that's going to be a bigger problem.
I can imagine that. So yeah, so you get down nets and bowl it basically. Mate.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to do this interview on Cricket Australia at one stage, but Redbacks TV is just as good and just as famous.
Well, to be honest with you, Matty,
Not Chris
don't
Rose
cut
yet.
yourself short just yet. We were approached by Cricket Australia this week
Okay,
for our video content,
fantastic.
and they are taking our videos at the moment. Cricket
Yeah.
Australia are for socials,
Yeah.
so
Beautiful.
that is
Start
not
paying.
BS. That
Shout
is,
out to Cricket Australia.
that is dead set true. No
Nice
word
to
of a lie.
start paying. That'd be good.
That's right.
Yeah, all it is repetition, mate. Just even if you're getting flogged in the net, so I used to chase a lot of balls back over my head. So
Yeah.
and now look at
Which
me
is
taking tail and wickets.
whereas hard is it,
Picking up bagfuls.
and so it's Davey's biggest bugbear, which is quite a big bug. It's probably not his biggest bugbear because he's just nothing but a
He's got
bugbear.
lots of them.
But it is hard in park cricket nets because you face your five, you face Kim, Chris, about your 5 quicks. The spinner comes, I can hit one now, and off you go for your march again. And it's probably a tough craft to continually work at from that point of view, but. It's go down when no one's there, I suppose, and that sort of thing. But
Well, one thing I prided myself on against, guys trying to hit me back over my head was whatever happened was if I hit someone on the thigh pad, I was just calling him out. Any ball in the air's out as well. So
yeah, you've got plenty of
Caught.
Yeah.
I'll just celebrate
You might have
like
hit
an
it that
idiot.
mother's caught.
100%. So, that's why I took 1,000 wickets in every net I've ever played.
That's right.
And at least it makes the batsman think he's getting pissed off because he thinks you've got him out 3 times, but in reality you've probably done for 40.
But then it's that one where you charge you the 5th time and miss it. And
100%.
there's another stumping you 5 down now.
This one's my favourite.
Yeah.
That's one I'd use.
Good.
And from your grade background, any quality players you saw in action that you went wow? Any New South Wales level players? Or not really.
Oh, yeah, a few. Usually I was not bowling to them. I was at fine league. Caught Steve Smith at fine league. That was a highlight. So shout out to Steve, or Smudge as we call him. But there was a few. I remember playing Kim actually in the same game as Brad Haddon was playing, and just watching him whack a few through the covers was enough for me. That was pretty exciting stuff. But it's always good when you get to play some of those Aussie players that come back, and even if you're not involved, you're just on the field watching. It's it's pretty special.
Sorry?
Well, you don't really want to be bowling at that time anyway.
No, exactly. Well, you're doing these ones, but you're not super keen. Actually, in that game, Kim Daly nicked off Mitch Watterson for not very many.
Yeah.
So, if Mitch is watching, and Kim, same thing. He snicked him off, so that was good.
Yeah, sweet. Unfortunately, I have footage of that, or I'll cut it in. But
We could doctor something
you
up.
can, but it's always there for over a beer.
Yeah, we could show the scorecard anyway.
Beautiful. Any other question? Was there anything from Matty? Before we
No.
might do a quick cut and then get on to you.
Yeah, no problems.